I think one of the reasons I left finance was you go through this super anonymous process, right? I love luxury and I love being able to associate a person who's benefiting from what I'm doing. Having that human connection is something that's just like more rewarding than money for me. I mean, that's why residential versus commercial, 100%. You know, when it comes to both the development side and the sales side, creating a product or marketing a product and then being able to get someone value who buys that product is amazing.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Real Estate vs. Technology Unleashed. So we're gonna get raw here. No, but I'm super excited. I actually have a fellow car enthusiast. We're actually just outside checking out his Porsche and my GTR, the TRX, and I'm super excited because the person we have today is only 5 months into over $13 million in transactions. He's with our SERHANT team, which is awesome as we're expanding out here in Arizona. It is, it's what, July 30th, 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. Beautiful day to have a podcast. Charles, welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Excited to see what's going on here, right?
Right. I had to walk you around the house. He's like, dude, I think you should rent this house as an influencer house. I'm like, I like where your head's at.
Always. Always you have to figure out how to monetize the asset, right?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. And before we get too deep, hey, Jen, appreciate you. She's behind the scenes. She's there.
Hi, I'm here.
They can hear her and see her, but we can't worry.
Okay.
But no, it's so true, right? I think that a lot of individuals forget about the opportunity of like, you know, the house hacking or what could you do with the house to turn it into a liability, to turn it into an asset so you can be able to maximize the opportunity of the square footage. And my wife and I from day one were like, we're gonna get a housemate. My team's in the Philippines. I travel internationally. So we need someone to feed the cats, take the trash out, go check the mail. And it was perfect. And then she left. So we're like, hey, you know what? Let's just do a second master upstairs, waiting on our contractors to get back to us from yesterday's meeting. And let's have 3 Airbnbs here, buy our next, and use this for other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, 100%. Right.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
fractional usage has become a huge.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everything from jets to art to
Cars.
to cars
Yeah,
and to
totally.
homes. 100%.
Yeah, the fractional buying, I see that all the time with the homes these days, which is very interesting. Just like with Bitcoin, you're buying fractions. I don't know who out there are buying a full Bitcoin, but you are. Congratulations. And so I want to get into your life before real estate. And it's interesting that you transitioned into that because you're actually helping out with the development of our market within our area here in Arizona. You have some developments of projects happening. So let's get into your backstory before getting into real estate. So how did you even get into the real estate, like even just world from the perspective of building and construction and what you've been doing currently?
Was working in New York for Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
And, towards the end of my career, guess what show started? It was $1 Million Listing New York. And started watching that religiously, loved what SERHANT was doing, loved what all the other characters were doing. So actually, when I left finance, I called Corcoran in New York.
Oh, Haley.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I was like, hey, just left finance, have a really good circle of contacts here, have a good sphere. What would it take to join your firm? And, they were not very interested. So, segued into restaurants. And through restaurants, I think I realized that the safest way to effectively build a restaurant is if you own the ground underneath it. Because building the structure, putting in all the tenant improvements into the structure itself, the day the business doesn't work, you're really left with nothing if you don't own the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of 90% of everything you do transfers to the landlord, right?
Yeah.
So, built 2 or 3 restaurants without that business model in mind. And then after that point started trying to acquire either at post fact or before committing to being a tenant, not being a tenant, but being a restaurant in the space. So we want to own the land. And was able to successfully do 2 of those. So that combined with building 2 or 3 custom homes for myself and my family, exposed me to working with architects, negotiating contracts with builders, developers, landlords.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, the real estate started making almost as much as the restaurants. How you're like, why, am I hiring 50 people? Why am I spending all this money on exhausts, tables, forks, knives, when the hard asset, the property is safer, requires less capital commitment, and is also kicking out a good amount of cash. So
yeah. Wow. Congratulations on that. That's huge. And is this something that you come from a family, a background of investors, and is this what you grew up in, or are you just kind of at Goldman Sachs just kind of migrated into this world?
No, no, my family has run restaurants going 3 generations back,
Oh,
maybe,
wow.
maybe
So that's where that
further.
comes from.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, joined my uncle when he had one restaurant. We expanded the group to about 12, and that's right around 3 years before then is when it started becoming a toll to have
Wow.
restaurants and a family. So
Yeah.
made a decision. I want to be a present father, so got out of the restaurant business.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Present fathers out there, shout out, because I didn't really have one in my life, so it's nice
Hey.
that you did what you did there. That makes sense. And then over time, you started to evolve. You went like, okay, I see the restaurant thing, and it reminds me of the McDonald's story. McDonald's, their whole thing is the land, right? The land, the land, the building, and then also not just flipping burgers, but they own that too. So interesting. And so now getting into the real estate asset world, so you basically say, I'm done with the restaurants.
Yep. 100%.
Wow, 100%. What kind of restaurants were they?
5 of them were Pan-Asian, so sushi, Chinese, Korean. The other 5 were craft beer with a gastropub
Nice.
theme in the kitchen. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And so when you're working for Goals, have you been here your whole time in Arizona?
No, I was from Nebraska originally.
Okay.
I was in New York from 2000 to 2009.
Okay.
Moved back to Nebraska for the restaurant business, and just moved out here about 10 days ago.
10 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I figured you were in New York City from everything you were saying, just made it was fitting. And what do you think so far? I mean, you moved in a little bit of this is the hot season, but what do you think so far, 10 days in?
I mean, we've been doing business out here for the better part of 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So our first luxury short-term rental was a really nice house off the Ford Holy Phoenician. And, have come back and looked for more projects because that one was really successful.
Yeah.
So used to the summer heat. I mean, it's not the ideal time, but, kids start school in early August, so we had to come back.
Too early. I don't know why. I don't know why the school districts out here start so early. My daughter started last week. We were in Oregon traveling. My partner's up there. We just got back on Saturday, so she's a little behind, but they should start next month. It is what it is. A little bit cooler going into the following months outside of just August, but it is what it is. Right in August, yeah. August in 2 days. So I think that Arizona's literally one of those places that it's going to be the next big thing. I think that everyone's talking about Texas and Florida. A lot of agents are doing relocation content, what have you. But I really think that with the semiconductors and Apple coming out here, Intel's already out here, this is a hot spot.
I also think COVID has changed the way people view Scottsdale. I mean, it used to be a city just to recreate, just sort of for retirees, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at how big the number is on a record sale home here, I mean, I think it's north of 40 million now.
Yeah.
And previously, I mean, I don't know, how long you've watched the real estate market, but in previous pullbacks in the real estate market, Scottsdale would fluctuate a lot more than it has.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say it's a down market right now. It's certainly not a seller's market. Yeah, but the price change here across the board hasn't been as tremendous as you've seen in previous dips. So I think people recognize Scottsdale as like a real city.
Yeah.
Businesses are relocating here. Tons of money's moving here. So
yeah, I think they said that there's a stat out there that there's more millionaires in Arizona. I don't know. I want to say ever before, but in any per capita. So it's amazing how many millions of billionaires are out here. And you have like the clever investor, you have Morby, if he's Morby, there's so many people out there. And then even Grant Cardone's invested out here too, in Scottsdale, which is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. And I love the fact that all the building opportunities, I mean, just right now the street you're driving up, you probably saw they're doing like 2, 3, 4-story buildings now. It's like, holy cow.
yeah, so it's grown real quick.
Yeah, it's amazing. So going from the restaurant side, and then now you're in the real estate side, and then now you get into like traditional residential real estate. Why not court commercial instead of going into the residential?
I think one of the reasons I left finance was you go through this super anonymous process, right? Like you knew something and you don't get to see someone really enjoy your work. Like you don't get to see the smiles. I love luxury, and I love being able to associate a person who's benefiting from what I'm doing.
I like that.
Like having that human connection is something that's just like more rewarding than money for me. So
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, that's why residential versus commercial, 100%.
I love that.
And, when it comes to both the development side and the sales side, creating a product or marketing a product and then being able to get someone value who buys that product is amazing.
That is amazing, I have to say. And it's interesting to think about your perspective from being a builder and now going into the residential space. I can imagine your perception is different than just an individual out there who's working with buyers and sellers and doesn't have your background in that. So what is it? So I can't believe 13 million in just 5 months. And so you got your license 5 months ago. You automatically knew you want to do a SERHANT. So then you reached out. Walk us through that process.
Yeah. So when we were moving into Arizona, I knew I wanted to do something day to day to keep myself busy, right?
Yeah.
Working with the builder, architects, designer. Once you get that all set and the build's in process, there's not a ton of things to do between that and then 3 months out before you're done.
Okay.
Right. So you have this gap of about 10 months. I like to stay occupied. Love real estate. So I approached one of my friends who was working for Berkshire Hathaway at the time and said, hey, listen, moving out here and I have the building gig, but I want something to do every day to keep myself like engaged in the market, meet the big players, understand what's selling, what's not selling. So he invited me onto his team at Berkshire. 2 months later, he's like, hey man, I got bad news. I'm like, what is it? Can I not be on your team? He's like, no, we're moving to SERHANT. It's good news, but it's bad. Like, it's unexpected. So,
And what's the odds, right?
yeah, what are the odds? I'm like, dude, I love that guy. Let's keep chasing this down the rabbit hole.
Very fitting.
So yeah, I mean, that's how I ended up at SERHANT. Joined his team. He was moving towards SERHANT, and it's been a whirlwind, but it's really interesting working for a company that's so ahead of the curve on social media, technology, what they deliver to their agents to help them get through like the day-to-day busy work is really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll head outside, so I'm making sure to turn it down a little bit here because as these lights light up, it gets super warm. That's very interesting. So Berkshire Hathaway, fitting that it went to SERHANT because you were already watching the show or what have you, talking about serendipitous. I believe everything happens for a reason, which is awesome. And so then getting your foot in the door, I mean, you have a different perspective. So I want to hear your take on how you reach out to the market to be able to start to conduct business.
Sure. I think you can categorize that 2 ways, right? You have your active and then your passive. And when I say passive, it's, hey, what can you put into the ether? So SEO.
Yep.
Right. Paid for lead gen.
Yep.
Right. Mailers to where you're putting yourself out there and people are going to see you and be like, oh, we want to work with this person for one reason or the other. Right.
Yeah.
And I include social media in that as well, because you're creating content, you're exposing like your interests, your projects, how you view real estate, like houses that you list, the houses that you show. And then there's proactive, which is going to networking events, joining clubs, joining a wine club, joining a golf club.
Yes.
Right? Going to Cars and Coffee.
Yes.
So between those two things, I mean, I've kind of picked my interests, right? So watches, golf, wine. From the passive perspective, brought on a lead gen company.
Okay.
Have been very active, trying to be very active in social media.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Dude, congratulations. That's awesome. I just love how tactical you are. You're very tactical with the process. And it's fitting because you already have the various different traits as an entrepreneur, whether it's consistency, grit, knowing your KPIs and SOPs of what's going to work. So you can duplicate some of the things that you've done to then just catapult yourself to have more success in where you're going. Not to mention you have a leg up with having, it's a pretty cool Porsche, and having already the means to be able to invest into some of those assets as well, to be able to start to really get that additional exposure, which is awesome.
No, I appreciate it, man. I think, for any new agents, watching, listen, I'm a new agent as well, but what's led to success in all my other ventures is you have to be consistent. You have to have a schedule. You have to grind it out. And it's how you handle the worst days, not how you handle the best, right?
Ooh, I love that. I love that 100%. So through those different avenues, what would you say would be making up a majority of the lead to the acquisition? Would you say, is it the passive stuff or more of the active stuff, like going out the car clubs, what have you? What you've seen for success had been earned the business you've done so far in 5 months?
Given that I've only been doing 5 months and 4 of those were while I was still in Omaha, I don't think those are going to really produce like leads for a bit, right? You have to invest in it, let it roll, let it filter out through the ether.
Yep.
Most of my leads have been hitting up my network in my home state, Nebraska.
Right. Yeah.
So, hey, one of my buddies said he wants to buy a house in the state where I know we have representation, right? I'm going to connect you, find you a broker within SERHANT in that state, right? Picked up one lead golfing.
There you go. Love
I was
it.
on the golf course and got paired up with a nice lady. She's like, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. I wasn't licensed yet, but I knew I'd be licensed by the time she closed. So referred her to my team lead. They closed the deal. It's just getting creative, right? I think as an agent, you kind of pigeonhole yourself. Like, I sell homes. Well, I know you don't just sell homes.
Yeah.
You can refer people, right? You can sell a house. You can list a house. You can go to networking events where there's builders there that are looking for lots.
Yes.
Right. So there's so many things you can do with the license. I think a lot of times people get overwhelmed. They can just say like, I just need to focus on one thing. That's not a bad idea, but try to pick 2 or 3 things.
Yes.
Because in certain markets right now, like being a listing agent is not great. It's a buyer's market.
Yes.
So how can I find people I know want to buy houses?
I love that. I love that. It's interesting. I was in an event about 2 years ago in San Francisco. Let's fucking go energy. Shout out to my buddy Arjun Mortgage. He's awesome. Arjun and his buddy Neil, they have a big event. Neil just had his Ford event in Las Vegas, and he had Ryan Serhant there. And
Awesome.
so I asked Ryan, I said, what do you think about the opportunity of being able to add more value to your specific market from the perspective of passively prospecting, but talking about schools and parks and restaurants and being the mayor of a town? He's like, oh, it's a great idea. I don't have time for that, but I love it. And
Yeah.
so that's where I see a lot of agents moving into that direction, which we preach at Lift Off Agents. Like, okay, you got to have your SOPs, your KPIs, focus on income producing activities. So you have to have that machine behind you. And then where are you at from the perspective of like a guy we just had on the show told you about, shout out. He was talking about the process of what's wrong in the market. Let's get behind the Apples and the Intels and the developers and what's happening in our current market. And then that way he could be able to be at the forefront of that. And then he gives systems in the back end, then that can help out with intake forms, good qualifications, and all other things, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet. Just to be honest with you, I tried to focus most of my efforts on the passive in the very beginning, like social media, lead generation, because, I'm trying to accomplish a lot in a very little amount of time.
Yeah.
Right. And then secondly, the proactive things, I'm just setting up my structure right now.
Yep.
It's the summertime. A lot of the clubs aren't even hosting events because they know
You're
they're all
right.
in leaves. So I'm just trying to create sort of like the traps. I'm laying out traps, laying out things I know will produce dividends in like
Yes.
3 months.
This is like being on the show, perfect opportunity for PR and to get yourself out there. And by the way, Bradley's episode should have been live last week if y'all want to check that out. Yeah, it's very true. Very true. And so getting into some of the tech behind the scenes with Serhant,
Yeah.
what have you been diving into that's been working to help you basically set the traps, get yourself organized, and get ready for the busy season?
Yeah. So Ryan's got an amazing app called Symbol,
I've been hearing about that.
right? And it does everything from write your monthly newsletter for you.
Okay.
And, we have say in it. We can send it back and say, hey, Jabs, this changed it. So it's not the generic template that goes out to your clientele. It's something that you're designing with the help of a team.
Okay.
All right. They also do competitive market analysis.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because, I mean, it's an art and a science for sure, right? But it's something that someone else can do that's not focused or is not skilled in sales.
Yeah.
Right. So he's taken a lot of the things that would take up an agent's time and maybe someone else can do it better. And he's created a system to where we can jump on our phone, record a voice file, send it off to the main office, and they'll pair that off with an expert to be able to do that for you.
Wow.
Yeah. When it comes to our public facing persona,
Yeah.
they also recommend you can go to Simple and say, hey, give me a monthly social media calendar. And these are my things, right? Like I'm a seller's agent.
Okay.
These are the price points I like working in. This is what I'm doing on the side. These are my interests. And they'll send you an Excel file with 30 days of content built out, recommending what you do, what photos you include.
Interesting.
So it's guidance. But the fact that it's like at your fingertips makes it so much easier to access, right?
Yes, I like that a lot because that's where I feel like a lot of brokerages from, we don't have to name the one here right now, is they're kind of fragmented. And I think the biggest thing is, which is nice, is to have someone who's in production, who's leading the helm. And it's like, reminds me of like, you ever seen that meme where it's like the entrepreneur, it's like a leader versus dictator. And like the
Sure.
leader is at the front pulling, the dictator is like pointing. I almost feel like a lot of these brokerages, and I don't mean it to cause any rustle me feathers here. They do, but it's like a lot of dictators are dictating all the things they might have been in production, but they're not anymore. And I can see how someone like Ryan is like in production, goes through the process. He's like,
Yeah.
how can I make this better? Right. So there's always going to be better through the process of utilizing Simple. So right now, how are you using it? Are you using those specific features? Anything else?
I'm focusing on those 3. So I think they're the most impactful for me.
Yeah.
Personally, like we were sitting at the bar the other day, I was talking to another agent and he's like, I just don't have time for this listing. I'm not sure what it's valued at. I just jumped on Simple, did a CMA. I'm like, hey, if you need help with it, if you're too busy, kick me the listing. I'll give you a referral fee. Got the CMA like literally 5 minutes. It was,
Wow.
I mean, that's how easy it is. So like, I mean, tools are great, but if they're hard to get to or they're cumbersome, you just don't use them. Right.
Yes. Too busy for a listing, huh?
There's a story behind it.
I'm
That
sure
being
there is.
said,
I'm sure there is. You know, you never know what life happens, but that is super cool with the CMAs and getting the information super quick. And that's awesome that the team's behind the scenes to help with the process of going through whatever the case may be. And the new office is located in Scottsdale. It was just open.
it's in the Bond building.
Bond
So in Biltmore, which is technically Phoenix, but super close to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to go, Jen. We're going to go check out that office. And I think we have also. Do we have the broker manager on file, Jen, coming to the show? I believe.
She verbally said yes, but she hasn't signed up yet. Stephanie. So we might have Stephanie on the podcast as well.
Oh, Stephanie Bray.
Yes.
Awesome. We were just chatting last night.
Well, it sounds like you might have to say, hey, Stephanie, I was just on Real Estate versus Technology. You might want to check it out.
Yeah. No, she's a great agent. So
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. I've seen her a little bit on social media. Jen has been amazing just getting some new individuals on the show because we are in the Phoenix market and because Serhant is now starting to get into this market. It's just like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're all local. Let's advertise this market. Let's cross pollinate. Let's help each other. So 5 months in, what does it look like in the next 12 months when you think about your business infrastructure as you start to scale and grow? What do you want to see for your company?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, we're in slow season now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to get exposed to a different type of market in 2 months.
I can imagine.
You know, all the tourists come back. You start having a lot more opportunities to network within public spaces, like that proactive network we were talking about. I'm just trying to build my systems, right? I'm trying different things. Yeah, working with a social media company, working with lead gen companies to see what kind of clicks right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like any other business or startup, it's like, hey, we'll try everything, but, you know, you have to act fast, right? Because time just kind of kills things. So the things that don't work, you either get rid of or kind of modify. The things that work, you sink more money into.
Yeah.
So I've given myself like a budget of how much I'm putting into real estate every month.
Love that.
And I don't go below the budget, but I don't go above the budget, right? So I can't just say I'm going to save money, I'm going to retract. I want to keep growing. So it's like, hey, if I'm taking $2,000 out of that because this doesn't work, it goes into something else.
Yes. So love that.
So I'm not guessing. I'm trying a lot of things right now.
So that's for viewers and listeners out there. So I think that's a great idea to think about. You know, first off, 90% of the business is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals, the guys and gals who know out there. And a lot of times those top 10%, they're doing and allocate funds just like you are. And a lot of other individuals, you ask them the question, so what's your budget as far as market? I don't know. Well, you got to allocate something, you know, and then you have to do what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull the levers to see specifically what's gonna work because, you know, there's so many different approaches like you talked about earlier, whether it's doing the ads or sending out the mailers or doing the networking, then getting onto YouTube, getting onto social. What do you post on social? Are you going to be an influencer, right? There's all those type of things. Do you find yourself as someone who would want to get into the influencer type of kind of like social media presence?
I don't really think so. I mean, by nature, I'm a very private person, right? So that's one of the conflicts I've been dealing with because you have to put yourself out there. The first time we were filming social media, it took like 6 hours.
Really?
20 takes per take. It was
What was holding you up? Just thinking or just
stumbling over your words, wondering what you're doing with your hands, like staring at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Charles over here. Okay, sorry.
Okay, yeah, we're good. Still a little shell shocked from that experience.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I want to become an influencer. I definitely want to put out bits where people can understand, like, hey, listen, if you use me as an agent, this is what I'm good at. This is also what I'm not good at. Yeah, this is the service that you will get.
Yeah.
When you have me representing you.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, it's just it's distracting, right? Like my primary focus is to do the best job for my clients.
Yes.
And to also let people know, hey, if you use me, like this is the experience you'll have. So to that end, putting out enough so that they understand that, but not to where it becomes a second job.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's what I think too, for anyone who's listening and doing, like, you got to figure out your lane, not to just your lane, but like you said, I'm not someone that really wants to be in the front because like you would think in my mind, you look at Brian Serhant, but okay, well, is everyone following suit with that type of influencer vibe? You know, it's obviously not true, you know, and that's where you could run the ads, send out the mailers, do other things. There is something to be said. What I do love, just to give you devil's advocate, is not so much the influencer card, but like putting out some stories, putting out some content, just because if you're running ads or you're getting leads coming in and then what do people do? They search you. And then to be able to like build kind of like the know, like, trust behind the scenes, but not need to talk with them or shake their hand or be on the call, because I'm sure when you get leads come in, there's still that time. You got to call, talk, you know, catch up, find out a little bit about them. That could take time. And that's what I love about social media is like I met my wife on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so she basically just went through and I'm an Instagram junkie and I got a bunch of stories and everything I'm doing is there. It's a rolling joke in our household.
Mhm.
My wife can't find me, she watches my stories. And so she basically she commented, whatever, long story short, she watched the stories and then she was like, I like this guy. And then we met, and then she can be the friend zone, and she's like, I just want to be around this guy more.
Mhm.
Then next thing you know, she's like, this is what I want. All right, cool. Practically moved out of California 5 years ago. So there's something to be said with that where I feel like the social side does kind of help you save time. And it's so crazy these days. You see these people like Ryan Serhant say, oh my God, millions of views,
Yeah.
Catch it. But then we just had Brad Lee on and he's like at Winco and so, Brad Lee, he's like, do I know you? So yeah.
See, I think that's the thing. I mean, social media is a great digital resume of your personality.
Yes.
Right. But at the same time, I don't know if you do. I don't ever want to be in a position where you're in other people like Charlie with your family and you're like, what's going on? I mean, it's there's a fine line there. And I think I just want to work up to that line, right? To where people know me.
Yeah.
They trust me. It's a good mix of lifestyle, personal life, and business.
Yeah.
So, for the longest time, and even right now, I have one page for my personal life and one page for my business. We're right in the middle of merging those two. I know you don't got merged Instagram accounts, but deleting the old one, getting all my followers onto the new one.
Yep.
Because I think the one thing I'm missing right now on my Instagram page is I don't have pictures of myself doing things, my family. Like,
yes,
guys, golf trip, it's predominantly real estate.
Yes. And that's how we connect, right? People connect from the fact of the build to know, like trust. Like we automatically connected over cars. You out there might connect because of golf, sports, health, fitness, whatever the case may be. And that's where I like kind of having that human touch. I know like Ryan's not a big thing, he's care about like that coming soon, just listed. He's more so of like, let's do it creatively. And then I know about his family too, and his daughter's close to my daughter's age. And then they, they go to Greece and they do the thing and they, they have their couple different houses, whatever. And so in the back of my mind, I know those things. And I have had a couple people come up and whatever. And I go by Mr. Liftoff.
Yeah.
Mr. Liftoff at Top Agents.
Nice.
But it hasn't been too bad. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a Gary B yet. I'm not a Ryan Serhant yet. So I guess we'll see what happens. Cause I'm kind of like that crazy guy who would be like, come on up, say hi.
That fulfills you, man. That's awesome, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's whatever your personal preferences, wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Just create a path to get there.
There you go. And it's that simple, right? You just gotta stay consistent and have some dreams in life. Cause that fucking makes it so much fun. It's like, the thing that makes me think about this whole podcast right now, thinks about how you went from building and restaurants and you don't need to be in real estate, but you said more than the money, it's the connection.
Yeah.
And I think humans are wanting more connection. And it speaks a lot about your character to want to connect with people, which is awesome. And even coming here and being on this podcast, Intelligent, sure, I'll give this a whirl. Why not? Is awesome because that's what I feel like everyone out there should do when you're working on growing your business is just connect with other people.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think with social media too, I think it's very important to be genuine in your content.
Yeah.
If you constantly post videos, like just pictures of you, like on the pickleball court, and you meet a client and like, yeah, let's go play football. You're like, I don't really do that. But that's so like, show your genuine interests, show like genuine photos of yourself or your family or your real estate. But
be real.
Yeah, being real. Yeah,
Yes.
and having that translate digitally to a potential client is pretty huge.
Yeah, big time. So right now, I mean, you said only one transaction in Arizona so far?
Let me think. So no, multiple transactions in Arizona.
Okay, multiple already? Okay.
But due to like the timing of my license, some are referrals.
Yeah.
Some have been referrals to other states.
Got it.
But I mean, again, it's like, hey, I'm new here. I don't have a circle. So I'm going to try to find ways to maximize the fact that I have a license, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Serhant, so if you're a new agent out there wanting to join Serhant, shameless plug, why not? How is their support? So like going through the contracts and your first deal, like, are they pretty supportive? Because your first deal was probably Brookshire, right? Did they transition and then you started just doing deals with Serhant?
My first license was with SERHANT.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So
Yeah.
the first referral deal I had was with an agent at Berkshire, my team lead. And then he transferred that deal over. And then the commission came via Berkshire to SERHANT to me.
Got it. And they did a good job with supporting as far as contracts, going through the process, where to sign, what to do.
So just joining Serhant, you don't get a transaction coordinator. You can choose to hire one, but that's pretty much industry standard. So it's not a knock on Serhant. But I think the first few deals I did, I tried to do all the paperwork with the assistance of our TC. I mean, it's pretty it's thick. And there's a lot of detail, right? And you want to be right with the detail because they can affect how that deal ends up on closing. Oh, did I forget to put that these appliances convey? Like, did I get this box checked off that, like the house was built in a time where there's no lead paint? I mean, there's a lot of things out there. So I'd say like, relying on someone to help you walk you through the process is pretty necessary.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Because we just had Bradley on, he was having an issue, 45-minute drive. He was just like, oh, I forgot to save insurance. And he had to drive back like 3 times, 6 hours later to get a deal closed.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he not use like DocuSign? What's the deal?
I don't know. I guess not. I should have followed up with that question. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Today's day and age, we just use DocuSign. But I think he was trying to be more personal and getting me to come and talk with them or whatever else. But plus it was personal and super green. But that's good that they have the support to help you with that process and they go through that. So then basically the next 12 months, where do you want to be production wise? You want to start a team? What does they look for you?
I try not to make my goals money oriented, right?
Got it.
I mean, that's just like saying I just want to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Okay, well, great. So does every. How do I get there? Right. Good. So just focus on the steps and then gauge how much progress you're making and how that ties into the reward. Like this is year one. I mean, I never would have thought I'd break 10 million in total business done. So, I'm focusing on, hey, with the systems I've set up, with the clubs that I've joined, how much fruit is that bearing? Right. And if that's not bearing good fruit, let's change and let's get our systems in place and let's see at the end of the half year, at the end of the next quarter, at the end of the full year, what that produced. It's just always how my brain's worked because, let me take that back. Once I left Golden, that's how my brain worked.
Got it.
Right. Because you start working, you're like, oh, if I could just make, X much more, I'll be happier. And then X much more, and I'll be happier. And then you get to that, and you're like, I'm not a single bit happier than I was the day that I started.
Interesting. That's an interesting concept that you talk about because, for like a corporation, like we have goals. Okay, 15,000 agents. You want to do 12 million a month and $300 million exit. Like that's not like exactly what motivates us. That's just kind of like a number. But it's interesting how these agents say, oh, I want to help 12 families, 13 families, whatever else. Or you say, hey, I'm going to hit this number. I want to be happy, but you weren't. So interesting. So you don't really even think about, like you said, you didn't even think 10. Now you're at 13.
Yeah.
So what does that do for you? Does that make you feel like more expansive? Like, okay, there's more opportunity here, or I'm done for the year? Or
no, not at all, man. I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, we always suffer from imposter syndrome. Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, I did a deal, but was that just dumb luck? Or was it actually something I did? Or I just got another deal? I mean, for the first 3 years of my restaurant career, I felt skittish about calling myself a restaurateur.
Really?
Yeah, it's just because I think once you label yourself, there's all these expectations of what you do and what you don't do. And at the end of the day, I'm passionate about real estate. I love helping people. Now, to your earlier point, yes, I think within corporations and for seasoned real estate veterans, it's important to say okay, what did I do last year? And if my number's lower, something's going wrong, right? Maybe I have the market, but maybe it's one of my processes.
Yeah.
That is super important to look at your key performance indicators and say, hey, okay, where's the break in the system?
Yeah.
But being in my first year, entering with no expectations has kind of been free.
Ooh.
It's okay, I'm just going to work. I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to create the systems that I know have worked in other businesses for myself and let's test them out. And then I'll meet with other agents and vet them and talk about what they do and just try to build this machine that can hopefully one day just self-sustain itself. Yeah. Speeding leads in. We're getting deals done.
Mm-hmm. That sounds very much like inner peace. It seems like a little bit. You're not really you're not staying up late thinking about it. You're not giving to yourself too much pressure.
Oh, there's a ton of pressure.
You've been feeling that still too?
Oh, I mean, it's always self-pressure. Yeah, it's am I doing it right? I just paid X for a lead gen company. Is that the right call?
Okay, I see that.
I just showed that house. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? How can I do better on the next showing? We just listed this house. Could the description have been a little bit better? Did we comp this right for the seller? Yeah, there's always a self-pressure. But I mean, I'm very self-motivated.
Yeah. Interesting. I love that. That's it's cool to hear contrast. I'm contrasting from my world to your world, which is super cool. And I love, yeah, no pressure, no diamonds. So you have to have it.
Yeah.
You know, I like the fact that if you're a seasoned agent out there, it makes a lot of sense. Like, let's track those KPIs. Where you at? What's happening?
Yep.
Are you getting your head or further back? And I love the tortoise and the hare model. I like to just be the tortoise, slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to just be the hare because you're gonna get to that make the price target. And you're like, I'm there, not happy still. Okay,
Yeah.
well maybe you need to slow down and be present with your family.
Yeah.
Or take more trips, or go get in the gym, go do yoga, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I like that a lot. That's awesome. And so how do you balance as far as a little bit of the personal side, getting into this world, spending some time with your family and having a good balance?
Oh, dude, anything except for restaurants is good balance.
I can imagine.
It was
How's it counting
pretty
hours there?
Well, when we were running restaurants,
Yeah.
at like 70, 80 a week.
Oh,
No
my
personal
gosh.
time. Every time someone calls out sick, you're the default person that goes in. I mean, during COVID, I was washing dishes, waiting tables, bartending, serving, whatever the restaurant needed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just 5 years ago.
Yeah,
Jeez.
5 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing. And so now, where do you draw the line?
I mean, I don't draw a line, right? It's like make time for their activities. Yeah, present in the morning.
Yep.
Be engaged both emotionally and physically. Like just be present physically, but emotionally, like be there to, help them develop when they fall short, but also praise when they do a good job.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard as an entrepreneur to say like I stopped taking calls at 5. Well, I mean, we spent time together, drove them to gymnastics, grabbed an ice cream cone. Yeah, I'll take a call at 6:30 or 7 or 8. It's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
I think it's just more, your mentality and what you push out to your family and energy wise.
Yeah, I agree 100% because on my schedule, I don't take any meetings after 3:30 for like a lift off agent side, but then it's like, oh, yesterday I'm in a meeting. I had to take one a little bit later. And it was like almost 6 o'clock. I'm getting done with the meeting. It's a knock at the door. Got a lot of people out here selling solar or whatever links may be. And shout out to door hockers, man. I don't know how you do it 115 degrees.
Yeah.
And my wife didn't answer. And I'm like, looking at the ring. I'm like, oh man, we're here. So I finished up the meeting and then I told my daughters, go for a swim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, before you know it, she's to take a shower. Her hair needs to be washed and all the things. The contractors are here for an hour plus going through all the measurements and get things ready for our second master being built upstairs. And then, I said, sorry, Annie, like you got 10 minutes in here and 10 minutes upstairs or 20 minutes in the shower. We'll go swim in tomorrow. You're a little upset with me, but you have to do what you got to do.
Yep. She knows you're trying, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's also good, I think, for our children out there to see, how we're working hard.
Yeah.
And we're getting it done. And, I tell her all the time, I said, you're not going to the Philippines or Oregon or this or that or having these extravagant trips just because there has to be some type of something behind it in order for us to, if this and that, and
Yeah.
so it's, for me, it's important to teach her as much as I can.
Yeah.
Favor that contrast for you to your children. You try to instill that and show them, or they probably just obviously see dad works hard.
Yeah. Oh no, mom works hard too.
Really?
Like mom's a mergers and acquisitions attorney.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So back to your earlier point, I think I'm going to just clarify something. So I think the important distinction, especially within our industry and every industry where you're kind of working for yourself, is that the difference between being short-term and long-term greed. Like no one works for free. Like don't get me wrong. Money is something that I know you have to have to survive, to flourish, to pass on to your kids, to build the dream.
Yep.
So I don't want people thinking I'm saying, oh no, money's not important. I don't even think about it. But I think the path that it takes to get there, when you're long-term greedy, you're focusing on your process. You're focusing on what you did to close 1 or 2 deals, not so much just where's the next deal. Well, I did something to get the first 2, so let's pick what went right and keep doing that.
Ooh, that was money. Money. No, I really feel that someone out there could take that and they can just run with it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it doesn't need to be too complicated. And I think people it's like simple as like, how did you hear about us? How did you hear about me? It's like asking those questions. And then it's funny how if you just pay attention, your audience, your clients, they'll tell you things that like if you really pay attention, you could implement those things and then you could 2, 4, 10x what you're doing. I can't for us as a marketing agency that sponsors our show, I can't tell you
Sure.
how many times I've met someone and they ask if this is possible or that's possible. We never like to be in a box. We're a company that is open to the opportunity as a creative agency to do more. We might not be the cheapest, but more possibility. And it's amazing. I'm like, hey, the only limitations is your imagination.
Yep, 100%. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Which is awesome. And what do you think in the future? You think you'll build a team and eventually not transact, or you just gonna see how it goes for now, or
Yeah, I really need to see how it goes. I mean, I like a team that I'm with. Every person is 100% solid, great individual, great human being. But I mean, yeah, the future is always just that. I mean, like, yeah, you don't know where you're going to be. So, just gonna keep pushing the system, pushing, the regiment that I put forward, and seeing what works. And if that leads me to something else 5, 6 years down the road, so be it.
wow. I have to say, it's interesting. You were the first guest of like 500 episodes that we've had that has been with your background and has come from like restaurant industry, a total different industry in general. But then, yes, you got into real estate from the perspective of building, what have you, to now getting to real estate itself. It's like usually people come from corporate or other type of thing. It's
Yeah.
like more of like a job,
Mhm.
right? Not like a serial entrepreneur as you are. So I'm intrigued. I want to follow your journey, man, and see how this unravels and see what levers you do pick
Yeah.
and what direction you really go and you flourish in, because you're at the beginning stages. And we've had so many people on the show where we like to interview the underdogs, people that are at the beginning,
Yeah.
and see what happens as we progress and as we move forward, which is awesome.
Well, let's do this from a year from now. Just kind of like the Vogue videos where they'll interview a celebrity one time, same questions. Then a year later, same questions. They play the video back and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I said that."
I love that. Hey, if y'all want that to happen,
Yeah.
comment below, let us know. And of course, links are down below, so you can go follow Charles as well. And Jen, on your side, because she's here too, so let's incorporate her. Is there any questions that you want to ask?
Yeah, I do.
Put her on the spot real quick.
Yeah, I was like, let me think about this.
She's already here producing. She's like, wait.
I'm on the spot now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, oops.
No
Okay,
pressure.
so you mentioned that you're on a team. Let's say that a newer agent wanted to be on a team. What are some green flags they should look out for to know that they have found the right team for them?
Sure. And I think this answer could get a little long-winded, but
We got some time.
when you talk to almost every agent, everyone says, "I want to be in luxury." Okay.
Mhm.
So that's a very common thing. I want to sell more expensive houses and make more money. Well, it's great. But think about the service side. Are you going to serve that client better than any other agent in that bracket, whether it's 2 million to 6 million, 8 to 20? So really understand your skill set of what you can bring to the table. And when you join that team, make sure that it's complementary. Yeah, if you join a team where it's like all luxury, high end, but you don't have that experience, sure, it could be a great way to grow and learn that. But it could also be a catastrophe, right? Like, to understand your skills and what you bring to the table before you just say, "I want to be in this. I want to be that. I want to be a commercial agent that leases, huge shopping malls." Well, why? And if the answer is just the money, maybe take a second, reflect on what you're good at, what you can bring to the table, and try to grow that. Yes, without money in mind in the short term. Again, it goes back to the short term versus long term. Really look at a team as people that can help you realize what you're good at, not just what you want to make, right? I think another thing you can look at within the team is the structure. Do they have weekly meetings? What are their expectations of you? I always said within restaurants, high performers love accountability because it separates what they do from what people who are not high producers are. So are you accountable within your team? What are your meetings with your superiors look like? What are the recognitions you get when you're performing? So I'd say structure is another thing I'd look for within a team. Longevity, have they been around for 2 weeks or 2 decades? Right. True. Longevity can be something that's good and bad. I think with longevity and history comes a layer of dogma that a lot of times it's hard to fight out of. Well, this is how we do things and we've always done it, right? I hate that because there's always better ways to do things. Like, keep your mind open, but you don't want to join a fly-by-night team that's been around for like 6 months, right? So
Yes.
it's a little blend, a little art and science in there. If I were to give you my top 3, I think that would be it.
Wow. Great question, Jen. I actually, I say this from the perspective of someone out there is listening that they don't know if they don't know until they know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, now you know. You know, and this is the
Well,
crazy.
I don't know yet. I'm new, so just telling you what I think.
I know you don't know yet, but the way that you articulated that was just so well thought through. And at the end of the day, like it's being more thoughtful, right?
Yeah.
I think so many people. I was talking to Bradley before you came on, and y'all gotta check out his episode. And he's just like, you know, it's like ChatGPT AI,
Yeah.
right? It writes everything up, and then, or the agent goes on social media and sees a cool post from another agent, and they go and they share on their story, but they don't watch the entirety of the story, when they don't read the write up, right? Because they're not going deeper into what the hell is even, how is it representing you?
Yeah.
What's the CTA? Do you want your network to buy from Charles because you're sharing his content? You know, is that write up from the AI going to be something that represents you? Just like the brokerage. Is the brokerage going to be something that you want to get into? Because I've heard horror stories. Like they've had 2 deals, you know, something happened with the broker, the deals are going through escrow, they're about to lose 15, 20 million in commission because
Jeez.
you know, XYZ, you
Yeah.
know, politics. Or, you know, now they got to leave to another brokerage. They got to wait to leave the brokerage because they didn't read the contract,
Sure.
you know? And so not to go down a big old rabbit hole of like, be careful what brokerage you join. But yeah, just thinking about that from the perspective of, like we said earlier, slow down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't go so fast.
Slow down, do things right, and try to build from that. But also, don't be too slow, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
paralysis via analysis.
Yes.
Testing kills entrepreneurs,
Yes.
right? I mean, I'd rather make 2 mistakes in the time it takes you to make like 1 decision than fix them than just sit there pondering the details all day.
Yes, 100%. And that's the difference, you know, between someone who's going to go and say, okay, I'm going to go for it and then they'll learn and fall forward,
Yeah.
or I'm going to overanalyze it, never hit record, for example, and
Right.
just get through it, you know, and you don't know what you don't know until you got a travel trailer on the side of the house, you got 3 letters from the HOA, and they're like, what are you doing? You can't do this, you can't do that. And you're like, wait a minute, read the bylaws from 93. And you're like, there's nothing in the bylaws that says I can't do this. So tell me what you're saying to me again.
Yeah.
You know, but it is what it is, no here nor there. Any other questions for you, Jen?
Yeah, one more.
What you got?
Shoot.
Well, it's not really a question, but it's a request.
Yep.
Can we go play golf together? Because I really love your perspective, and I feel like I need to get to know you a lot more.
Yeah, let's do it. Where do you
Okay.
golf?
I actually do not golf.
Oh, let's get you.
We'll be golf course right here on Superstition Springs, right here, golf course.
Yeah, I'm like a novice golf. But
Okay.
like a little bit about me, I've actually was a teacher for about 11 and a half years.
That's great. Thank
And-
you.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then I got connected with Norman through Instagram. And he was like, hey, I'm looking for someone to help me scale the department of our business. And I was like, oh, tell me more. And then obviously the rest is history. And here I am now, out of the classroom, living my dream life, basically. And now I'm like, now my school is actually doing a golf tournament. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should join.
Oh, fun. Where is it?
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I should have brought the paper.
Is it a charity event?
It is a
Yeah.
charity event. It is to help with I shouldn't say with the school's athletic department.
Okay.
So, and they have like sponsorships that they're looking for. And I was like, oh, I don't know.
Let's
what
do it.
to
I'll
join.
sponsor it. I'll be one of the sponsors.
Hey,
Awesome.
Yeah.
there we go.
Hey,
Hey, it is your school. You're you know, Kaden still goes there.
yeah,
so.
my son still goes there, and he's gonna run cross country there, and he wants to do soccer. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll totally support it.
Yeah.
So-
Give me the information. I'll do 1 tier sponsorship. We'll get a team together. We'll go golfing.
Let's
And,
go.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I'll be there too. So.
Hey, it sounds like we'll have to match you on that Liftoff Agent will sponsor too.
There we go.
There
Hey,
you
that's
go.
rules, man. Well, no, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for being a teacher. It's a very thankless job.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is. It really
it
is for
is.
sure.
And I was like learning so much because I get to be like in the same room with awesome real estate agents like you and just like pick your brain. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I'm living my dream life right now.
That's awesome.
Let's go. Give a big round of applause on this side. And no, Jen, you're amazing. And you know, she's picked up doing all the stuff behind the scenes to help out with because we usually have the laptop here, and I'm doing all the things, and now she's back there and she's getting media behind the scenes, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And as I told her, I said, hey, help me grow this for 6 to 12 months,
Mhm.
and then we'll reinvest into you. We'll build you out, pull infrastructure, and then you
Awesome.
can be a model for us.
Great.
So, you know, it's a symbiotic relationship, right? And that's the thing. It's just like, you know, y'all out there, you're watching this for a reason. You know, it's not what you know, it's what you don't know, and it's continuously learning. And learn from other people that
Yeah.
have fell forward and not have to maybe fall forward and fall on your face so many times
Sure.
from just learning from someone else.
Yep.
So,
I agree. I mean, I think that's the nice thing about real estate, right? This is not rocket science. It's been done in the past. It's been done well by a lot of people. So take the time to learn from them if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get an invitation to meet someone who's been very successful in whatever career you're in, yep, take it. Be humble. Always offer to pick up the check if you ask for a meeting. That's good advice.
Oh, but round of applause. There's a book called The Seven Triggers to Yes that states that if you do something for someone else, like they'll be more inclined. It's reciprocity. And did you know that Walmart won't let their reps when they're going, they're looking for different things, products, merchandise, whatever for their
Yeah.
showers. They won't let the reps take any gifts or other merch.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because they don't want any of that, because then there's like that obligation, they have to do something back.
Yeah.
And so I love being that guy that always picks up the chef. My buddy, shout out son, I don't know if he's watching this, but he's one of our investors as well, and he's always picked up the chat. Stop it. Like, I'd like to like go to the bathroom. Sure you are, bro.
Yeah. Right.
You're just getting the check. So as we get closer to the end of the show, and I want to make sure that y'all, follow, like, subscribe. Thanks to Lift Off for sponsoring. Jen, give her a follow. Charles, give him a follow. Follow the journey. See what he's going to be doing as we get him back in the next year. But what would you like to leave for our viewers and listeners as we close up? A golden nugget, a book, something to help them just put a bow tie on the end of our episode.
Sure. And this is a lot of pressure. Let me think about it. So a good quote is, if you work for yourself and you hate your job, you have to reconsider your life, right? You control your own destiny. I mean, if you're having struggles and you're running up against a wall, like, change. Don't be afraid to call audible at the last minute and just keep pushing and finding ways that work. It's an amazing career. Like, there's so many open doors within real estate, so many different avenues you can take and generate income to help support yourself, your family. Don't take it for granted. I know it gets frustrating at times, and we're definitely in an interesting market. I don't think we're in a down market, but we're in an interesting market where it's super volatile and things can happen. And just, surround yourself with good people that want to give, people that want to help you succeed. They're definitely rare, but if you find one, make sure you keep them in your circle.
Ooh, let's go. Yeah, it's funny you just said that, because if you read there on the wall, the Monopoly,
Yeah.
If it doesn't inspire you, you don't have a circle, you got a cage.
Yep.
Charles, thanks so much for being on Real Estate First Technology Unleashed. We're going to get you back on in a year, see where you're at. We may or may not be here. I have a warehouse collector concept that I'm working on.
Nice.
So we might have a supercar storage warehouse location with this podcast studio. I'm just going to put it out there in the ether. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Community type of collaboration with that. Follow the man, check out his journey, see what he's up to. Jen, big shout out to you behind the scenes for all the things that you're doing. And more importantly, thank you for watching and just pouring into yourself. That's our intention here, is for you to take things from an episode, apply your business, have more massive success. Hopefully you just took one thing. I like that ending. And more massive success process of growing your business. Take care. We'll see you all on the next one.
See you guys later. Thank you.